Between them, Tim Marsden and Andy Barber have over 60 years military experience with the RAF, but they now work in schools for a charity helping disadvantaged children, the type of people it seems the government want to attract. The idea is that someone with a military background could be an inspiring presence at the front of the class, particularly reaching out to boys who often find it hard to engage with their teachers. But is someone from the armed forces going to be a good teacher? Potentially, think Andy and Tim, if used in the right way.
Having an ex-forces maths teacher wouldn't be any different to having a mainstream maths teacher. But I think what we do works for the type of kids that we have. A more vocational setting, preparing them for work, preparing them for college, making them more employable. I can see a real benefit in that.
I kind of think it's not the military background, it's the type of person. If you're a good teacher, you're a good teacher, whether you've had a military career or not.
The idea of getting teachers from battlefield to classroom is well established in places like the US. Since 1994, they've recruited 16,000 teachers from the ranks. In a small way, something similar is already happening at schools like this. The government seems to want former forces personnel in classrooms up and down the country. Tim Cooper, Forces News, Oxford.
The Education Secretary Michael Gove joins us now from central London. Secretary of State, how are you going to tempt ex-service personnel into teaching, and how easy are you going to make it for them?
Well, the truth is we really don't need to tempt them very much. There's a huge amount of enthusiasm on the part of officers, NCOs and others to move from service in the armed forces into the classroom. Education and training is the single most popular destination for people who leave the services, so we're going to make it easier by giving people who've got degrees a chance to get postgraduate teacher qualifications more speedily and cheaply. And we'll also do the same for those people who've really impressed in the services but don't have a university degree. We'll shorten the period that they need to spend learning in order to get into the classroom.
What is it about active service that translates so well into the classroom?
Well, you only need to spend some time with service personnel to recognise that the focused training, the self-discipline, the character that the armed forces imbue in the young men and women who go through their ranks are all the qualities and virtues that you see in the best schools. It seems to me a natural bridge for people who devoted their lives to helping young men and women become people of whom we can be proud. It's a natural thing for them to move into schools and to use the talent and the leadership abilities that they have to raise the aspirations of the next generation.
And as far as the pupils are concerned, do you think that ex-service personnel command an automatic respect simply because what they may have done and where they might have been?
Absolutely. I don't think there's a single family in this country that doesn't know and respect someone who's in the armed forces. And I think all our experiences over the last few years will have reminded us very, very powerfully that there are no people of whom we can be prouder in this country than those who wear the Queen's uniform. And the idea that people who've done such a distinguished job, who've shown leadership and who've shown character in the armed forces, the idea that they should move into the classroom is, I think, one that parents will welcome. And it's certainly the case, I know, that pupils will look up to anyone who's been in uniform as a role model that they can admire.
And how many teachers are you looking for from the armed forces?
The more the better. We haven't set a cap or a target on this. We're trying to see in the first couple of years what the demand is, but I'm convinced that this is an initiative which many, many people in the services will want to pursue.
All right, Michael Gove, thank you very much for your time.